let's work with radio buttons. Now the difference between a radio button and a checkbox is that it's an either or scenario. In other words, it's going to be one or the other. So first off, let's just, I'm going to zoom in so you guys can see this. All right. And much like the other items that we did, you need to put in some sort of a frame so that you can actually give it a function. So again, I'm going to make a square. Okay, so I'm going to click and drag and create, say, a square right here. All right, very good. All right, put this here. All right, and then I'm going to duplicate that and put this right here. All right, so I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to make this go where it says type. I'm going to make that radio button. All right, so I have radio button 1. Then click right here, and I'm going to make this also a radio button. All right, and this says radio button 2. Okay, so we have 1 and 2. Well, now remember, it has to be an either or scenario. So as I have these two radio buttons right here, let's just export it out and see what it does. So I'm going to export it out as an interactive PDF file. Okay. Again, keeping the default view PDF after exporting. So I'm here at my form. I click here. See the little dot right there? I click here. But hey, guess what? It's not really an either or. I see I have two dots in position. And that's not really what I want. So let's take care of that. All right. Don't save this. Now, if you remember I told you guys before, in order for a radio button, well, first of all of the form fields have to have unique names. Because if their names are the same, then they will act the same. So, in this case, we have radio button 1 and we have radio button 2. But watch what happens when I take radio button 2 and I make that radio button 1. So that they both have radio button 1. This one is radio button 1 and this one is radio button 1. Let's see what happens now when I export it out. All right, I'm exporting it out, interactive PDF. All right, accept the defaults. And now when I click here, there it is. And then when I click here, okay, now it's doing what I needed to do. Because they both have the same name, only one can be active at a time. But here's what I don't like. What I don't like is, in this scenario, I have check marks, all right? And I want check marks up here instead of these little round bullets, if you will. Let's take care of that. Come out here, don't save anything. And now I'm going to take care of the actual little graphic on the inside. Now, as you can see, that inside of these frames, it'll let you know exactly what they are. For example, if you look here, these are all check boxes because you can see the little check mark that's right there in the frame. And here you can see it has a little bullet here, which lets you know that it's a radio button. So you might say, well, what's the big deal? Because what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to grab this graphic right here. I'm going to copy that because that's just a graphic item. That's all it is. And then I'm going to take the one that's here, that dot, and I'm going to replace it, all right, with the check mark. Now, mind you, it's still a radio button. It just has a check mark in there. Same here. I'm going to take that graphic, delete it, then I'm going to paste into that frame the check mark. But again, it's still a radio button. Now let's take a look at it and see what it does. I'm going to export it out. All right, we're going to export this thing and keeping all the defaults. And now let's see. Check mark, check mark. Now it's doing what we needed to do. And I can still have multiple selections here. So now I can keep this thing uniform, and this would be the radio button option. So now that's how we deal with the radio buttons. Next up is going to be the combo box. Okay, before we get to the combo box, let's do something with this the radio buttons where it says, did you receive a degree? Now we have a checkbox, but did you receive a degree? That has to be either a yes or no scenario. So what I want to do right now is I'm going to create a text frame, all right? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in the text frame, all right? One frame will have the word yes. So I'll paste that in there and I'll say yes. All right, and then the other one, all right, and I'll make this thing narrow. All right, actually, I'll just make it as tight as possible. All right, and then I'll make another frame, and I'll put in here no. And actually, yeah, no. Okay, so we have yes and no. All right, and much like we did with the anchored objects, we're going to anchor those two text frames. So we're going to cut this, the yes out, cut it out, and then I'm going to put it in line right over here, and then I'm going to cut out the no. All right, cut it out, put it right next to the yes. All right, and now you guys remember what we did last time was we click on the anchored text box. We click on the text frame. We're going to go over to anchored objects options. All right, and we're going to go over here to custom, and it flies out to the side. And we're going to do the same thing here. Okay, we're going to go over here to anchored object options. We'll say custom, and it flies out to the side. Now we take this, put this, say over here, all right, underneath, and then that'll go there. And then we'll take this, and let's just make sure it lines up with the yes. Just move it so that it's over here next to that. All right, so we have yes and no, and let's just test it and make sure that it works properly. Okay, oh, well, you know what we didn't do? We still have something else to do. We have to put these in line, the check button, the radio buttons in line. So let's take that, all right, we're going to cut that out of there, all right. We're going to come over here to the end, paste that over there, in line again, cut this one out, next to it, all right, paste it right there, all right. Then we're going to take this, and we're going to do the same thing. I know it seems a little tedious, but this is to make sure that everything moves together. If in case there are any edits, you don't have to go back and forth and back and forth. Everything will move as one. All right, options. All right, custom. Say okay. All right, so now take this one. We know that is the radio button 1. We'll put this over here. All right, very good. And then we'll take this one here and move this over here. All right. So now we have that there. Let's see if it works. Let's see if it works. I'm going to put a return in here. There we go. It's doing exactly what we needed to do. All right, now let's test it. Make sure everything is as it should be. So we're going to export it out as a form field. Okay, keeping the defaults. All right, we got the defaults in place. And then we click here. Yes, no. Perfect. Everything is working just the way we want it to work. So next up is going to be our combo box.